Now, one of Picasso's most famous paintings, Child with a Dove, which has been on public display in Britain since the 1970s, there it is up for sale and could go abroad. The picture, which is privately owned, is on the market for an estimate of £50 million. And that, it seems, is a price that no British gallery is likely to be able to afford to pay. Well, Estelle Lovatt is a freelance art critic. She's here in the studio with me now. Estelle, good evening to you. £50 million is a lot of money for any painting. Is this worth it?
Absolutely. Picasso is the whole of the Spanish line of art rolled into one. And this is such a fantastic painting. It was painted when he was only 21 years of age. And the thing about Picasso is that he relates everything to either Christian iconography or history that's happened to him at the time. His sister had just passed away, so we sort of see this child as perhaps the young Christ child holding the dove, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, symbolic of the Holy Spirit, and it's just the best and finest example of one of his early Blue Period paintings. So
you've sold it. You sold it to me as being a very fine painting. However, we'll come back to that for £50 million you can buy a lot of maybe not quite great paintings, but art for the public. Would you recommend that we as a nation would spend that much money to save this painting?
Well, it's funny, the National Gallery have only just saved and bought the Titian.
Absolutely.
And now, of course, we're talking about this Picasso. It would be a travesty to let it go. So many people get enjoyment out of seeing works of art in a gallery. Otherwise, they're going to be in somebody's cellar.
Whose cellar? Who around the world would pay £50 million for this painting?
You know, maybe Abramovich. You know, he's a very big Picasso fan, contemporary art fan. Or maybe Steve Wynn over in the States. But it would be such a shame if we lost it. It's funny because here in this country we're quite slow at appreciating Picasso. At the Tate at the moment is Picasso and Modern British Art, the exhibition. And when Picasso first came here in 1919, he was fond of us. He was buying Savile Row English suits and bowler hats and umbrellas to look like the typical Englishman. And whereas the Royal Academy president, who was drunk at the time, granted, he said Picasso is corrupting British art, and he discussed even with Winston Churchill about kicking Picasso somewhere not too friendly.
So what about the Spaniards? Would they not want to sort of try and buy this painting for themselves?
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. But we've got to keep it. You know, we haven't got that many. The first painting that the Tate Gallery bought of Picasso was in 1933, which is very late, and that was a very safe early floral painting of his, A Still Life of Flowers.
So tell us about these very wealthy people who invest in art. They seem to have been doing it for years now. Is it a good thing to invest in?
Art is a fantastic thing to invest in because the value keeps going up. You know, it's like real estate, or fine wine, or gold bars. You know, if you've got the money, invest in art. But the trick is finding an artist before they become worth £50 million. So you need to buy them when they're in the 20s, which
okay,
of course...
give us a name. Who should we be investing in there? You can't say Damien Hirst. An artist in their 20s will be worth £50 million. Who is that person?
Well, maybe not in their millions, but McAlpine Miller.
McAlpine Miller. If you're watching McAlpine Miller, we'd love to hear from you, Estelle. Thank you very much indeed. One problem for Roman Abramovich is he's just got to pay off a latest manager, so I don't know if he'll be bidding for this one. Let's find out about the weather now with Alex Deakin.